Americans in the American Revolutionary War, which they clearly were. Yeah. So they say they know rebellion's brewing. They say you guys need money. I can tell you where some is. So they come up, they take it out. They know where it's 2 steps before this.
What's up, guys? How are you? I got a very interesting guest coming on in a few minutes. God put me in contact with this guy from the United States. He lived a pretty crazy life. He's gonna tell his whole story. Hi, Selena. How are you, sweetheart? Happy Mother's Day if you're a mother. Corey's gonna tell us his life. I don't know a lot about him, but I think he's a motivational speaker and a minister right now. He went through a lot in life, and for anybody struggling out there, like myself, every day is a struggle. But long as we stick together and tell our stories, we can help each other. Real Talk Addictions. What's up, Jake Ryan? How the fuck are you, buddy? Suck on the back on a nice cup of tea with carnation milk in it. You don't see this in Ontario much. Carnation milk. Ah. But anyway, we got to keep tackling this addiction, this problem here together, because I had a buddy contact me last night. As much as he's been listening to me, he went out drinking and driving last night and got arrested for impaired. So no matter what I tells people, people are still not getting it, or the brain is just too powerful and makes you do stupid things when we don't listen. You know, mental illness is a powerful thing. That's why I don't think it's about addictions and drugs and alcohol, because we wouldn't do those crazy things if we didn't have a mental problem. You know you're going to drink and drive and you're going to get in trouble, but you do it anyway. That's a mental illness. I don't give a hell what anybody says. You know, and I gotta pray for, I just got a call, one of my friends from Shea Heights. Her mother's got cancer really bad and the chemo's not working. You know, I'm going to pray for that lady, Lord. You know who she is, God. Please try to work a miracle and make that cancer go away from her. She's a beautiful lady. She's got a beautiful family, Lord. So if you can spare this lady's life, Lord, and you can take her at another date in your life when you need her, Lord. But if her days are numbered on earth and she's did her purpose for you, it's in your hands what you do with her, Lord. Amen. Okay, where you at, Corey? Let me see, can I find you, Corey? Corey, I invited you on, Corey. If you're there, Corey, just accept or send me a friend request, Corey. Are you there, Corey? Okay, Corey, are you there, my friend? Corey Burtis, where are you? Well, I'm waiting for Corey to come on, you know. I hope Corey comes on. Hello, Jason, how are you? You know, I think about addictions and everything being instilled in your body from a young age. I can remember having red hair and freckles. I was an ugly kid. I was skinny. I was a very skinny kid. I was shy, timid. And I remember once we were down in Kitty Vitty. I was about 7 years old. Corey, I want you to come on. Corey, where are you at, brother? I was in down the gut in Newfoundland, and I remember I had big freckles. And the lady in the store, I never even forgot her name ever. I knows her name. I was only about 6. She said, "What, did someone throw shit at you through a screen door?" And she laughed at that. She was an adult woman. Hello, Gary Yetman, buddy. I love you, man. She was an adult woman. And that stuck with me forever. And it made me realize how cruel human beings were. Older people were. You know, and right there and then I knew I had to learn how to be tough and get tougher. And it's because the people got no kindness or compassion in them. You know, and my life went on like that for a while as a young kid. Everybody thought I was, you know, something wrong. What's wrong? Skinny. I play soccer. I think they only let me play on the team because they pitied me. I never played many games. You know, so again, that's at 12-year-old. I remembers, you know, not feeling good as a person, never good enough. You know, and then it went with softball, the same thing. I was always sitting on the bench as a kid, you know. I don't know, Corey, where you at, Corey? Kayla, I don't think you wanted to come on. You sent me a friend request to get on. But, you know, that almost shaped me as I got older. And, you know, you get into the years of drinking and drugs then to try to calm your inner child that people made you feel bad and good. Corey's trying to come on, guys. I'm just waiting. He's trying to get on there now. But that shaped me for all them years of the drugs and everything. And, you know, I spend all these years trying to get away from it now. And the only way to do it is with God. Okay, I got Corey coming on now, guys. Just give me a second. How are you, Corey?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. God bless.
I'm doing good.
To see you come on here. God put us in touch with each other for a reason, hey?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Good,
how was your Mother's Day?
Hey, it was good, brother. How was your day?
Good. I just got through barbecuing and everything else. Had a crawfish boil yesterday, so I've been busy all weekend.
You were telling me about that crawfish boil. I always watched that stuff on TV from Canada, and I always wanted to be part of one of those. It looks pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, it's fun. Me and my wife ate 36 pounds yesterday by ourselves. So.
Corey, you got your headphones in, brother?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Corey, guys, this is Corey, my new brother from the United States. He's going to share his story with you, I guess, from when he was a child till he got in addictions and to how he got off the drugs and where his life is at now. So, Corey, if you want, brother, you can just take over. These people are waiting to hear you, brother, and God is waiting to watch you.
What happened? Okay, I'm on there. All right. Well, my name is Corey Burris. I'm from Texas.
You're kind of breaking up a little bit, Corey.
Okay, let me try and go in the house, see if my signal's better. But whenever I was young, I was in sports a lot, and was something with my brother, with his stuff. He was a year and a half older than me. Well, when I got older and older, I'm like, well, he ain't never there, but my mom was always there. She coached my teams and everything. And, he only had wanted one kid. And, it kind of, I never let anybody know I knew that, but, it kind of made sense, with everything that was going on. My dad would try to buy me clothes from Walmart, and he would buy my brother's clothes off in the mall, and my mom stopped that real quick. She wouldn't let him do that. I mean, it's just little stuff like that, And when I became a teenager, he started punishing me in unorthodox ways. I guess he was in the military for a little while, so I guess I stemmed from that. I don't know, but like sitting on the wall in a chair when there's no chair there, let your legs burn, and 6 inches, and kneeling on rice, and just, I mean, all kind of things. He made me take a bath in a 55-gallon drum one time in our backyard. I mean, just stuff like that. But one of his favorite things to do was he would put me up against the wall, with my face up against the wall, and he would put a mark about 6 inches above my nose with a little pencil, and I would have to put my nose on that mark. And he would sit behind me with a belt, and if I didn't tell him what he wanted to know or whatever, if my nose would go below that mark, he'd hit me with a belt until I stayed on the mark. Just whatever, however long it took. But and even at that, I was like, well, that's just how it is. Back then, there wasn't CPS, and there wasn't, people to protect the children, and or if there was, we didn't know about it. And my dog's up there, check him out. But he do stuff like that, so I just kind of brushed it off. And the longer, when I started becoming an older teenager, I would get in trouble. But it was just, everyday teenager stuff. It wasn't nothing big. It wasn't anything with the law or anything like that. And just like, I took my dad's car one night, went joyriding, brought it back. I didn't wreck it or nothing. The only reason he found out is because I didn't put the seat far enough back. I put it back, but not far enough back. But I mean, it's just stuff like that, and just regular stuff, And when I was 16 years old, me and my buddy, we were fixing to go to a party, and it was a New Year party, like the week after, the weekend after we all went back to school, we had a big party, and I got out of the shower and I was fixing to go pick him up, and my other buddy called me. It was 3 of us, and he's like, well, he said, Cody shot himself, I'm like, right? Is he all right? Shoot himself in the foot, because that was unheard of for suicide or anything. He's like, no, he blew his head off. I'm like, I was just floored. What? And I'm like, I rushed to his house right away, and man, the things I saw, I really, I didn't really want to see, and I just, I was in there trying to do what I had to do, and because they didn't want me to go inside, and I said, no, you're moving, I'm going in the house, and it's just, I should have stayed outside, but I mean, I did what I had to do, and it helped out, and after his funeral, it was like the biggest funeral we've ever had in this town since. I mean, it was the funeral mile was like over 5 miles long, and it was just, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was, I said to myself, I'm never going to do nothing like that. I've seen the reaction it had on people, Well, that was January 8th of 1993. And, man, we went back to school, and just the whole school year and that summer and the next school year, everybody kind of acted like they were all right, just put it behind them. And I did too, but, Christmas came around and we got in a little trouble. Me and a couple of my friends, we were stealing Christmas lights and reindeer. Not being malicious, but we all put them at a closed store like a big herd of deer. And we had Christmas trees. It was actually a pretty nice little ordeal we had over there.
Yeah.
But we got in a little trouble for it. But and it wasn't nothing. The cops were like, we all just need to bring their stuff back. Whatever. But and that New Year's, I went out with my friends and I didn't come home. I was already in trouble with my parents from that Christmas thing, and it's like, you know what? And I got drunk, and I didn't know where I was. I was out there. The next day I came home. It was bitter cold, man, and it was my trucker got stuck in the mud somehow that night. But I got that. I got it. I got it out, and I went home, and it was just caked in mud. And my dad made me get out there in the freezing cold and wash it, every inch of it, even underneath there. I had to get underneath it with a water hose, underneath it, like laying under it with a water hose, and just scrub it. I'm like, yeah. And then after I got done all that, I was just thinking, and I was like, you know what? I said my buddy's anniversary of him dying is in 7 days. I said I'll just shoot myself and be in heaven with him and be done with all this crap. And I was like, that was a good idea to me. And I went in my brother's room, which I had guns. I just didn't have a shotgun, but yeah, I went in there and got a 12-gauge buckshot shell. And I went in my room and I put it on my dresser right next to my TV. And I was sat in my room all the time watching TV, and I stared at it for a week, and I never had a second thought about it. That's what I'm doing. And I didn't reach out to anybody, and I didn't want anybody to help me. I didn't want anybody to try to stop me. I was determined. And the day of the 8th, I was watching a movie in my mom's living room, and about halfway through the movie, I was like, well, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. Let's go do it. And went to my brother's room and grabbed a shotgun and went into the bathroom. And in our bathroom, we had 2 bathroom doors. We got one, and then there's a sink and a closet, and then you got another door in the bathtub and the toilet. Excuse me. Well, I locked both doors, and I went in there and sat on the toilet. And I was like, all right, I load the shell and, everything else. And I said on the count of 3, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be done with all this crap. So I put the gun on the floor, and I put the barrel of it right here. And I said, all right, 1, 2. And then on 3, I pulled. And then they said, I don't remember anything for 2 weeks, but they said that I never lost consciousness do the whole thing. They said that I got up off the toilet, unlocked both the bathroom doors, and I walked back in the living room, and I sat on the couch where I was, and I was watching TV. My mom came in. She was my mom was an RN. She came in from outside. She was in the back. And when she came in, I mean, I can only imagine, how she felt and what she was looking at, and it's just, because I know what I saw at my friend's house. But she kept her composure, as best she could, being an RN. And she called 911 like 5 times, and it was busy. And we live in a little small town. It shouldn't have been busy ever. So when she finally got through to them, she, man, the house was flooded with cops and ambulance, everything. And they brought me to the helicopter that was right down the road, and they flew me 30 miles away. And when I got there, the surgeons and doctors they're just like at all. They didn't know what to do. They're like, we don't even know what we're looking at. It was that bad. So they stabilized me as best they could, and they flew me another hour and a half to Galveston, Texas, and I stayed there for months. And it was just like, I don't remember anything for 2 weeks. And when I first started remembering, I always say when I woke up, because I don't remember it, but I never was out. I was writing notes, trying to communicate on paper the whole time with them. And my head was the size of a basketball. And from right here, all this right here, all that was a big gaping hole. It was just gone. And I could, whenever I started remembering, I could look in the mirror and see my molars on this side with my mouth closed. And my first thought when I started remembering was, man, I'm a failure. I can't even kill myself right. Who can't kill themselves? Who can't do that? And I was mad at first. It was like, and all I had was time to think. So I mean, just laying there and hooked up to every tube you could imagine, and every beep and boop driving you crazy. Just, I sat there and thought, and it was like, God saved me for a reason, And I never blamed God for any of this, because I know who it comes from, And I said, look, man, all I did was I talked to him a lot, It's all I had, the only person I had to talk to, And actually, I couldn't really talk. My head I could talk, what I'm saying? But anyway, I told him, I said, look, man, I know you saved me for a reason, and one day I'll figure out that reason. But until then, I'm just going to do the best I can. I'm just going to, I made the decision. I have 2 choices. I can either hide and be a hermit the rest of my life because of this, or I can stand up, stick my head up, and keep my chest out and act like nothing ever happened and live my life. And that's what I chose, And so from that point on, I'm like, I'm doing this. It's a different way. And it showed me a lot of things about myself, and how to actually, what a lot of feelings really actually meant, instead of saying, I do this, but, I actually truly felt what was going on. And it's crazy because I sat in that hospital and, like, I don't know, probably a week after I started remembering stuff, I had a 25-and-a-half-hour surgery. I was out for a whole day with the same doctor in there the whole time. He took one little break to go get something to eat, and that's it. It was a young guy. I mean, he's an awesome doctor. But after my surgery, it's a busy hospital. They took me out of the operating room. Well, they they got to clean it all up before they throw somebody else in there, even if it's you that was in there. Well, they had me on the table in the recovery room, and my lung collapsed, and the nurse was sitting. They had to put her right there beside my bed because I was all the anesthesia. I was just trying to go to sleep. I was just tired, and she said, "If you go to sleep, you're gonna die." And she's like, "You gotta breathe. You gotta breathe." And it felt like an elephant sitting on my chest, and it's just so labored. I'm just like, I'm tired. I just want to go to sleep. Like, if you go to sleep, you're gonna die. And it's kind of ironic. I didn't think of it then, but I mean, I fought with everything I had to stay alive. And it's kind of ironic to look back, and 3 weeks earlier, I was doing everything I could to try to kill myself, and now I'm doing everything in my power to stay alive. So that just goes to show me right there that suicide is a huge influence with a spirit of evil, and it's not natural. Nobody ever wants to kill themselves I mean, that's just not natural, there's always forces involved other than our own. But anyway, altogether, I've had 54 surgeries now. When I got out of the hospital, I was homebound school for like 2 months or a month, and then the summer hit, and when I went back to school, I went back to public school. Me and everybody was, those people that snickered and hey, point fingers and whatever, but I acted like I didn't even hear them. I just walked around like nothing ever happened. I did everything I always did before, and just, I was me. It didn't change me. And I just, if you don't have that outlook, man, this world's really gonna eat you up. You gotta let stuff bounce off of you and just keep going. Well, when in high school, I actually had a couple of girlfriends, which was very surprising. I kind of threw that out the window a long time ago. I was like, yeah, whatever. But that also, taught me that people don't always look on the outside. People actually, some people actually look at your heart, in the true meaning of the person, And when I dated that girl for a long time, and I actually got engaged to her, but it didn't work, so we split off. But in college, I met this girl, and we ended up getting married and everything else, and everything was going good. Just around 2000, and I dabbled with drugs here and there, drinking and smoking weed, and I got into some cocaine. When I met her, I'd been doing cocaine maybe on the weekend here and there, maybe twice a month, and it progressively got worse, and I didn't get too bad on it because I've always been able to catch my snaps, you know. I always go over the line, but I'm able to find it and pull myself back. But I was, we were doing all that and just doing what we had to do. Anyway, she's like, why don't we, I asked her to marry me, and she's like, okay. And she's like, and we started talking about kids, and she's like, well, I don't think we can have kids. I don't think I can have kids. I'm like, I bet you can. Well, you got pregnant. And so we're married. We got a kid on the way. We quit everything. And, when he was born, I tried to, I worked as much as I could. But keeping a job, or getting a job is, people discriminate. It's hard to prove, but they do, And that's okay with me. I don't care. God will give me what I need to have, But after he was born, I got back on drugs, here and there. And we, off and on with meth and coke and just, whatever's around, And this went on. And then in '05, we were actually doing pretty good. And then the hurricane hit. I was working in a plant, in a chemical plant. Anyway, Hurricane Rita hit, and it tore this. Yeah, it's like a bomb went off down here. Anyway, I went back to work on a skeleton crew because I came back like the next day, which I wasn't even allowed back into town. But I said, I'm coming into town. I got a house, I got to protect it. And I came back and I went back to work, and they gave me like a $5 an hour raise. So I'm like, yeah. And well, my simple ways, all that money was eating me up. Man, I went and bought a bunch of dope and coke and just. Anyway, I got in a wreck. I wasn't high when I got in a wreck, but I was working nights, and I got up at night, which I hadn't done anything in like a day, So I mean, I wasn't high, but it was in my system. When I got in a wreck, it was an 18-wheeler fault. I flipped my truck at 80 miles an hour 5 times, and I walked away. I didn't want to go to the hospital because they're going to drug test you. Okay, I already had 2 DWIs. That's a third DWI. I'm not, no. Even though I wasn't high, it's still in my system. They can pull anything they want to on me. So I'm like, nope, I'm going home. Well, about 2 weeks after I went home, well, after the wreck the next day, I was like, I couldn't breathe, It's like when I would talk, it was like I was getting out of breath just talking. It was like something's wrong, and so about a week later, I had a violent seizure which broke both my shoulders. I tensed up so much that they both broke. And so I'm like, man, just one fell swoop, my job was gone, my truck was gone, my health was gone. I couldn't work. And it was like, what do you do? I mean, I have a family, I have bills, I got a house, I got, so I'm like, and let me back up for a second. After I shot myself, I started asking God in the hospital why he saved me. And I said, I'm going to continue to ask you until you tell me. So for 13 years, I asked him every day without an answer. Well, whenever my shoulders broke and everything else, I was at home the next day and I was upset. I wasn't mad at God, but I was frustrated. And I was like, okay, God, look, you took everything or allowed everything to get taken from me. I said, what the hell do you want? What do you want from me? And I really wasn't expecting an answer, but just like, man, it was so loud in my head. He said, I want you to help people with suicide. I'm like, what? I'm like, no. I told him no. I said, I'm not doing that. I said, that's not me. I said, I'm not built for that. And he's like, yeah, you are. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. And, I sat there for a while and I was like, all right, look. I said, if you want me to do it, give me confirmation on it. Well, I shouldn't have said that. And it was like a concert in my head. Like wearing earphones all the way up, just blaring, and I couldn't even have my own thought. It was just help people, help people. Like, okay, okay, leave me alone. But yeah, when I told him I would do what he wanted me to do, it was like, man, it was like a light went off. I understood my whole life existence, down to, I mean, all kind of things that I never understood. And it was like, wow, that's only God, and because my dad didn't want any kids, my mom was on birth control. She still got pregnant. All this happened. And he could have stopped me from trying to kill myself, but he allowed it to happen so I could help people now. It all fits in a wheel, like a cog in a wheel. But so I started helping people. I started I was able to. I had a little cell phone, little flip phone back then, but I was able to patch suicide crisis center calls to my phone, so I didn't have to go 30 miles away to an office because I didn't have a vehicle. So I was taking calls at my house for a suicide and crisis and rape center. I was a hotline operator, and I did that for like 3 years. And I took more hours than anybody that was doing it, and more shifts than anybody was doing. I kind of overwhelmed myself. I just jumped in it knee deep, And I mean, I didn't quit because of that, because I knew God wanted me to do that. I knew He would give me what I needed to do it. But in my flesh, I was kind of getting overwhelmed. And that's the thing, we have to get out of ourselves to make a difference. We can't worry about what we're doing to make a difference in somebody else's life. We got to get ourselves out of the way. And man, I kept doing that, and I was going to church like 6 days a week, because all I had to live on was faith, because for 6 years I was getting one shoulder fixed, and I'd have a seizure and break the other shoulder and get it fixed and break another, and it was relentless, So, well, about 2010, my wife held my neighbor's brand new baby and got baby fever So we have a second kid. So yeah, they're 11 years apart. But yeah, so I'm like, man, you know what? I said we're not in a good situation right now, but God will always provide. So whatever. Just I can't deny you the right. So yeah, she got pregnant and had another kid, and it's 2011, and my father-in-law, he said, I got an idea. He said, well, I'll buy a bounce house company because anything over my chest down here I could do, but anything over here, my shoulders would pop out and breaking. He said, you could do that. He said, they're just balloons. I'm like, okay. Yeah, right. That's the hardest job I've ever had, and I'm a welder by trade. That stuff, man, the biggest one we had was 875 pounds while it was dry. When it was wet, it'd be up to 2,000 pounds. It's like, yeah, I got a broke shoulders, whatever. So I did that, and it took me out of church. I had to work, just about every day of the week, especially every Sunday because I had to pick them up, and every Wednesday because I had to clean them. And I thought it was a blessing, but it was really a curse. Satan comes at you in all kind of different ways, even though it looks enticing, it might be bad. Anyway, I got back on the drugs, pretty heavy. I mean, really heavy, because I was working so many hours, and it was crystal meth. Anyway, we started just doing it bad, and I worked every day. I didn't miss a day of work for 3 years with a broke shoulder, and just all kind of stuff started happening. My father-in-law lost the company in a divorce, and so he sold it, and it just, that was, that kind of hurt me again. My heart was in it, and it was helpful. But anyway, man, we got into drugs so bad, and man, I started cooking dope. I started selling dope. I was shooting dope up. I did so many things I said I'd never do. I don't regret doing any of them because it taught me lessons, but, I'm not proud of them. You can either look at everything in two different ways. It's either a lesson or I screwed up. Well, learn from it. If you learn something, it's not just a screw up. You took something from it. But man, this went on, and CPS ended up getting called, and which we had battles with them throughout our addiction, but we always were able to clean out. And back then it was mostly marijuana, and I would I'd get wind of them coming, and I'd drink bleach and orange juice, and I'd clean myself out right quick, and I'd pass, and just next day I'm smoking again. I got them out of my hair, but I knew they were coming, and with the stuff we were doing, they weren't playing, and it wasn't no marijuana charge. It was, dope and everything else. And I'm like, they're finna take my kids. Well, my kids are number one in my book. So I quit in the dope house. I quit shooting it up. I quit everything. And but my wife couldn't quit. She was hung up in that stuff and couldn't quit. Well, CPS came, and they said, if you don't take the kids out of here, I'm taking them. Well, I left before the lady left. I'm out of here. You ain't taking nothing to me. I'd already lost everything else, vehicles, and so I left. Well, the house that we had was 4-bedroom brick house. It was paid for, 5 acres of land and everything. That's all gone. It got lost. Her mother took it and sold it. And it's horrible deal. My wife ended up going to jail. We were apart for a year and a half, and it was rough on me. It was rough on her too. But I came off the drugs. I had both kids. I'm not able to work, so I stayed with my mom for a little while, which we bump heads like crazy. So I moved in with my friends, and I was like, this is getting something done. Well, they drink all the time, so I started drinking again. I was drinking a fifth of whiskey a day, and I thought I was fine because I wasn't doing dope. Oh, I'm clean, but I just wasn't doing dope. Well, I went to I've been clean about 8 months. Oh, well, let me back up. CPS, they entrapped me. They knew I told them I had been selling drugs, doing drugs, all this, and I quit. Whenever I was out of the house, I've been out about 2 weeks. They kept hounding me. They made me do all the classes, all the anger management, all the everything that she was supposed to do because she failed, but I had to do it. I passed. But anyway, I did it anyway. They said, we're going to take a hair sample from you. I'm like, no, you're not. I said, that goes back 90 days. I said, 90 days ago, I was messed up. I said, that's entrapment. That's illegal. Oh, you gotta do it, or we're gonna take your kids. Take my hair, whatever. Well, yeah, I was dirty, so they made me go to inpatient rehab. They said you gotta be there at least 45 days. I was successfully discharged in 4 days because I was clean. I wasn't on nothing. They were mad. Oh, they were mad. But they're like, how'd you do that? They're like, how'd you get out so fast? I said, I told you, I'm not on drugs. I've been clean for over a month. And the lady was like, she started getting rude with me. She was like, well, I think this and that and that. She said, I think I might just take you to court. I said, all right, just shut up and take me to court. Do what you got to do. I said, the judge can decipher this, not you. Well, about a week later, I got a letter saying that she closed my case out. So I'm like, well, thank God, you know, I got it past that. And well, about 8 months went by, and I had some sinus problems. I went to the hospital, and they did an arteriogram where they shoot you full of that dye. Well, I've had that before, and it never had effect on me. But they pumped a bunch of this dye in my veins, and I got real hot. And I don't know if you know, but if you shoot up enough dope, you get really, really hot. You feel the heat. And I felt the heat off the dye. So I'm like, whoa, what is that? I'm like, hold up. And that feeling gave me reservations. And I started working at this mechanic shop, and he was like a used car salesman. He was a crook, you know, and it really got on my nerves with the things he was doing to people. And we got in a little argument one day, and I told him I quit, you know, went to work, and when I was going out the door, he said, you can't even shoot yourself right. So I was like, oh yeah? So I come flying back in the door. I cleared his whole desk off all the papers and computer and everything, and I tried to bring his butt outside. And he picked up this closet rod, about 3 foot closet rod. I said, bring that with you, you're gonna need it. Anyway, he wouldn't come outside, but anyway, I was mad, so I left. And I went and got me a bottle of whiskey, and I drank that, and somebody gave me some Xanax. I took them. That's my downfall, man. I take a Xanax, I do stupid stuff. I took the Xanax. Next thing you know, I was, you know, back at my old friend's house just hanging out, and this girl comes over there and she said, hey, you want some dope? Gave me $100 worth of dope for free. I shot the whole $100 at one time. Yeah, and I went to jail like 10 minutes later because I was outside texting somebody, and they ran up on me, and I had drugs all over me, and man, I was in Louisiana, you know, and I'm from Texas, so I was looking at 5 years in a different state. Man, I was stressing, and I was like, I started praying to God. Oh, wait. I gotta back up a little bit. When I quit dope, I was walking down the road one night, and God spoke to me. He said, get your wife by your side. And I'm like, what? He's like, the world as we know it's not going to be the same anymore. He's like, you need to prepare for battle. I'm like, whatever. And I laughed at him. I said, look, dude, you want my wife by my side. That's going to have to be you, because I can't even talk to her. You know, anyway, I was like, well, I'm prepared. I said, you know, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But I was kind of cocky about it. Like, I can do it, you know. But I wasn't preparing myself. Anyway, that's whenever they started the 8 months, you know, being clean. Well, when I got put in jail, I was sitting there thinking, I was mad the first couple of days because, you know, and you know how it is, you get put in jail for something and just mad at the world. Anyway, this dude come in there, and they gave me the nickname C4 because I'd blow up on everybody. I just, you know, I didn't care. And this dude come in there, and he's like, you want this? And he handed a Bible out through that bars. I'm like, yeah, I do. And man, I got in the Bible and I started reading, like, man, about 16 hours a day. I kept my nose in the book. And anytime I'd like feel angry, or anytime I'd wake up and be like, you know, feeling alone, or any kind of feeling other than happy, I was in the book reading. And it wasn't a couple of minutes and I'd be happy. You know, I'd be laughing in there, you know, and that's what God didn't make me get arrested, but he allowed it to happen for me to slow myself down long enough to get back for me to prepare myself for battle. All right, because when he wants something, he gets it. So anyway, I was in there 60 days, and I was looking at 5 years on, man, just they trumped up a bunch of stuff. I got resisting arrest charges after I was in the jail cell, locked in the cell. I'm like, how did I get that? But anyway, I was talking to God the whole time and praying for my captors and, you know, the city, and I was in there, and man, I had gotten moved to another city, which is, I was in prison. The other city, they put everybody that's in county in with the prisoners, in with the murderers and everything else. This ain't county. They throw you in the prison just to wait. So I'm like, what? No, wait a minute. Anyway, so I've been in there, and I was praying and praying, and one night I was praying, and I said, man, I just want to go home. And I heard, soon, my son. That's all I heard. And I'm like, hey, I can deal with that. Soon is good. Anyway, I was in there about another week, and my wife she got out of jail. She ended up selling my truck and bonded me out of jail. So, and then when I went to court, man, I've been praying and praying and praying. I went to court. I got 15 days time served. So I was free and clear with no charges. But he was allowed to put me in there, get me to shut myself up for long enough. And then he took care of my punishment too. You know, I didn't get in trouble in the end. You know, they let me go with it. So, I mean, so ever since I got out, man, I've been hitting the book. I've been trying to help as many people as I can, you know, and we're all in this together. You know, nobody's better than anybody else. And I have a suicide page, a suicide prevention page on Facebook. It's called Suicide Prevention and God's Helpers. And I got over 5,000 people in there. And man, there's a lot of people getting help. So many people are hurting. And, you know, it's all of us, really. You know, all of us hurting somewhere or another. But, you know, we can't get help unless we tell somebody. You know, we can't get help unless we reach out. You know, and since then, you know, I mean, I'm an admin of over 15 groups. I'm a member of over 400, you know, self-help groups. I got my own group. I was able to, fortunately, be a part of a Cook Ministries out of Alabama that helps with suicidal ministry, and they do. Man, it's a small place, but they do all kinds of stuff. They do human trafficking, they do drugs, they, you know, whatever the problem is. Same as my group. Whatever the problem is, you can get help there. And they offered to send me to school to get my minister's license. So I'm a licensed chaplain. I don't have a church, but I got it. You know, so my foot's in the door. But you know, I can look back and it's like, this is not where I would have ever expected me to be. You know, but that's the thing. You never know what God has for you.
Yeah.
You know, even that. You know, even like when I was hurting, you know, and struggling so bad, even after I shot myself, you know, I would know that, you know, a miracle is 5 minutes down the road. If I just hang on a minute, it's going to be there, you know. And like, it always happens, you know. My bills were always paid. I never asked anybody to pay my bills. I never asked, I hate asking for anything, you know. I hate it. But we do have to ask for help, you know. You know, but as far as money, I can't ask people for money. I don't, you know. I'll ask people for mental help, like help me out, bro. But money, no. I'll get out there and do something. You know, I'll do what I got to do. But but yeah. And now, you know, I got my family back. You know, me and my wife been back together about 3 years. Just, I mean, I lost everything. I don't have anything now, but I don't care. You know, I'm not materialistic. I got a TV and a bed and some clothes. I just bought a car that's broke down, but I got one. But yeah, the brakes went out. But it is what it is. You know, I don't stress like I used to stress because there's no sense in it. It's not going to help anything. Just I just stay true to God. You know, and I know that whatever comes in my path is more powerful than anything that can ever come against me. You know, and matter of fact, I have the power over everything. You know, because it says that we have more power than Jesus had because we have Jesus as an authority. So, I mean, that right there alone, man, you can beat anything. No, you can beat it all. And people need to understand that there's a lot of spiritual attack going on in this world. You know, it's not just, you know, everybody's like, oh, I'm bipolar and I got this and I got that and I got this. Okay, I understand that, you know, and if you need medication, get medication. But let me point this out. They had those same problems in the Bible, and they were noted as demons, and they were cast out in the name of Jesus, and they were fine. Okay, my wife's bipolar; she has to take medicine, but if she could ever click to the idea that she's more powerful than that, I promise you, she can get over that. You know, and that's everybody. You know, if you believe it, you can do it. You know, belief is a powerful thing. Belief ain't just a word. You know, and I tell people that all the time. It's what you believe. I'll say, do this and that. And they're like, oh, I don't believe I can do that. It's like, well, it's whatever you believe. You know, if you believe you're this, this, and this, that's what you are. You know, If you believe you're an addict the rest of your life and you're this, that's what you're going to be. But if you speak against it and I'm not an addict anymore, I was saved by grace, then you were saved by grace. You're not an addict. If you believe that and you keep living that every day, that's what you're going to be. I tell everybody, what you dwell on is what you're going to be. If you dwell on depression and all that, you got to stay positive and worry about the positive things, and you will promote positive in life. And I used to be a very negative person, and I always had negative, influences coming back from what I was putting out there. What you put out there comes back to you. So, and treat people how you want to be. If somebody's being a jerk, stuff, and just man, I try and do whatever I can. It's gonna pop up from day to day. What I got to do, and I just know putting God first. That's all I got, man. I appreciate you letting me come on here. You got anything you want to ask me or talk about or anything like that?
Corey, I want to tell you, you're amazing, brother. It's God's will that you came on tonight. I'll thank you, and I'll thank God. It's an amazing story, an amazing story. I think you coming on to my site, it's going to inspire a lot of people. I had a couple of people call me earlier tonight that were thinking about committing suicide. So it's really funny that you come on at this time. I was starting to get scared.
End of my way.
And I think, yeah, I won't have to worry now. They're going to come your way, and you're going to have to help them. I think what you just said is it's going to help them already. And I think you're handsome myself. You're a beautiful man. God bless you. I can see one day I might have to fly down to meet you.
Right. Well, I've had a few facelifts. That's where my beauty comes from.
God bless, buddy. God bless. I might need one to look beautiful myself. But, everything you said, too, it's in the positive thinking. If whatever you think you want in life, I think you will get it. If you keep thinking it, then let God in your life. You will not make it without God. Life will be terrible without God.
No, that's exactly right.
People can go there.
And you know what? And I've been a Christian, ever. I struggled, and the reason I struggled because I wasn't putting Him first. I wasn't doing what I needed to do. And trying to do it yourself, you're never going to get it. You might be a millionaire, but the inside, that's the thing. Money's not everything. I'd rather have peace than money.
Yeah, that's right. It's all about the peace for me, too. I had all kinds of money, Corey. And only recently, a month ago, I'm helping people, but I would not ask for help for myself. And I got arrested for driving under suspension. Stupid me. But I'm like you. Everything is for the greater good. It's all for me to learn people and work for God. So I don't care. I'll take it. I'll take it head on just to help other people.
Right. Amen, brother.
But I learn. I always learn from my mistakes. I'm not going to make them no more, I hope.
Right. Right. Me, we just gotta stay focused on the positive.
Yeah, I hear you, Corey. I hear you, brother.
Even though you messed up, hey, prove yourself and move on. Do what you gotta do. We can't live in our own pity party.
No, I moved on from all of mine, Corey. I don't let you. I love you, Corey. Thank you, buddy. We're having a little bit of breaking up now. If anybody got any questions for Corey while he's there?
Watch them up. Let me pick on there if I can.
All right, Corey, I love you. Let's stay in touch. Let's try to help the world, buddy. Let's do it together. I'm here for you, and I know you'll be there for me.
All the comments. I
Good
don't
night
ever
and
read them while
God
I'm doing it
bless,
because I'll be
brother.
sitting there. All right, man. God bless you. Have a good night.
I love you, buddy. Good night.
Hey.